Let's record to the cloud. Let's record to the cloud. Right. So you're welcome to tonight's session. I'm also going to stream on Facebook. I'm also going to stream on Facebook so we can have a copy for us. So tonight we'll be talking about how to help your child pass the 11 plus, the SAT exam, and the Gcse exam. And with me tonight, we'll be having Afua, Antwi, and Lauren. We'll be having Afua and Lauren on tonight's session of how your child can excel in the 11 plus and SAT exam. It's going to be a very informative session, and it's one that you must not miss at all. It'll be an informative session and one that you should not miss. So share to your page, select page, editor. There we go. Go live. Go live. Go live. Okay. So just checking to be sure that we are being streamed. Just hold on. We're trying to ensure that we have a copy on Facebook so that people can watch after tonight's session. So that's why we're streaming. Okay, so we're good. We're live on Facebook, and also we have the recorded version. Good. So you're welcome to tonight's session. Yeah. So let's get into it. So tonight's session. Okay. So let's get into it. Share tonight. Okay. So tonight, how your child can excel in the 11 plus SAT and Gcse exams. So tonight's session will be divided into number one, introduction to TechLearn. Who are we? Who are we? So who are we? Then overview of 11 plus SAT and Gcse exams. The overview, right? So that's the overview. Number three, the interview with Lauren. Then we also look at the interview with Lauren, interview with Afua. So interview with Lauren, interview with Lauren, then interview with Afua, then questions and answers, questions and answers. Okay, so question and answer. Okay, so that's it. Let's start with the introduction to TechLearn. Who are we? Who are we? So let me show you our faculty, which I also believe is being dropped on the group. These are faculty in Techland. Well, I'm Omiyale Yomi. I'm the founder of Techland, and Techland, the founder of Techland. Techland is a subsidiary of Digital Consulting. Digital Consulting is an ed tech, and Techland is the K-12 arm of Digital Consulting. So it's a K-12 exam prep institute with the mission to make quality K-12 education accessible to every student through an engaging and flexible online platform. Techland is focused on helping year 5, year 6, year 10, and 11 students in UK schools to excel in the 11 plus, 13 plus Gcse and A-level exams with the KS2 SAT exams at one sitting and gain admission to grammar schools and universities respectively. Like I said, I'm also the CEO of Digital Consulting, which is a tech training institute. I'm the senior pastor of Household of King's Church at Grammar School, Lagos. We also have Jennifer on our team. Jennifer is an education advisor and an online maths tutor. She's a dedicated career advisor with over 4 years of experience in education. Jennifer specializes in helping students navigate their academic journey while discovering career paths that align with their strengths and passion. She has a postgraduate certificate in education from the Goldsmith College, University of London. She has a QTS from the ARC Teacher Training UK. She has successfully prepared students for GCSE exams. She understands the importance of making informed decisions for future success. She provides personalized guidance to help students explore career options, understand the necessary qualifications, and build a roadmap towards achieving their goals. At Techland, Jennifer empowers students to make confident choices about their education and career, ensuring they are set up for long-term success. So that's Jennifer. We also have Afua. Afua will be with us tonight shortly. She's a graduate of Manchester Metropolitan University. She's an internationally credited tutor from the World TESOL Academy, TESOL/TEFL certificate. As an educational advisor, she's dedicated to empowering parents and guiding students through the challenges of GCSE and 11 plus exams. With 5 years plus in the education sector, Afua understands the intricacies of this pivotal assessment and the impact they have on a child's academic journey. Our aim is to provide tailored support and resources to both tutors and families to enable them to navigate the complexities of the education system. She aims to foster confidence in students and alleviate parental concerns by offering practical strategies, expert advice, and the needed support. At Techland, she helps students to achieve their educational goals through guidance and counseling. We have Lauren. She's a school admissions consultant. Lauren is a private tutor and secondary school admissions consultant with 12 years plus experience guiding parents and students through the 11 plus, 13 plus ISEB CAT4 exams for students entering top grammar and independent schools across the UK. She has notable success in helping students gain admission to top UK schools like Abbey College, Parkstone Grammar, Bournemouth for Girls, Starbuck Eats, Lewenston, Christ Hospital, Benedine, Upland, and Bryanston. Lauren is a parent and student advisor at Techland, where she guides both parents and students on how to excel in the 11 plus and 13 plus exams and gain admission to a top grammar school. She has also worked as a private tutor at Enric Learning, Atom Learning, Poppy's Tutoring Company, and as a training coordinator at IQ Bar Limited. So Lauren, that's Lauren. We also have Sharon, also on our team. Sharon is a versatile and dedicated educator with extensive experience in both physical classroom settings and online tutoring. Currently working with Techland, she collaborates with other educational initiatives to provide high-quality tutoring for students across the UK and Canada. She's a top exam prep tutor for iPrep and a tutor and educational content creator for Kinyabi, which is in Canada. Her teaching covers a wide range of subjects and levels from early primary through secondary education with a focus on preparing students for critical exams like the 11 plus and the SATs. She takes pride in developing engaging, student-centered lessons that promote academic growth and critical thinking. Beyond her work with TechLearn, she actively participates in projects aimed at improving literacy and numerical skills for young learners in an effective and engaging manner. So that is Sharon. So that's our team in TechLearn. And I think I'm done with that. Next thing, back to our slide. So TechLearn has been around now, and we've been preparing students for the 11 plus exams, the GCSE exams, and the SAT exams. So that is that. So now overview of the 11 plus exams, the GCSE exams, the 11 plus and the GCSE exam. So, so to start with, let's start with the 11 plus exam. 11 plus exam. So the 11 plus exam is written in September. And that the exam will be written September this year. And it's written by year 5 students as they go into year 6. Now, this exam is very competitive. When Lauren comes on board and AFWA, you get to know it's very competitive because students that get good grades on these exams they get admission to the UK grammar school. They get admission to a UK grammar school. A UK grammar school now there's something about the UK educational system is we have this UK grammar school, the government funded UK grammar school. And what that means is that for 6 years of their study, they don't pay a dime for 6 years because they gain admission to government funded grammar school. Now, grammar schools have very high standard. So the standard of education is very high, and a lot of students from this grammar school make it to top universities because of the quality of education there, the network, the people they will meet. So a grammar school is as I believe you know, is a top UK school with a very high quality of education, and most importantly, it's free. So they enjoy 6 years, 6 years quality and free education. 6 years of quality and free education, right? So, and that's how it works there. So now, because of this, the fact that this exam is very competitive, it's always advisable that even students from year 4 start to prepare for the exam. So what we actually do in TechLearn is that we prepare both students in year 4 and year 5 for the exams. Because if they start preparing from year 4, their chances of passing the exam is much higher. So a lot of students are writing the exams across the UK, and not all of them will make it, but with proper preparation, they will make it. So that is for the 11 plus exam, which we should take note of. Now, we also have this, the SAT exam. The SAT exam, or let me call it the KS2 SAT exam. KS2 SAT exam. Now, this is written May, June, right? So the exam is May, June this year. And this exam is written by year 6 students. And it's written by all students in the UK. All students will take this KS2 exam, right? Now, don't forget that it's only year 5 students that can write the 11 plus exam, and they write it at the start of their year 6. So, and like I said, we prepare both year 4 and year 5 for the 11 plus exam. Now, don't forget, if they do well at the 11 plus exam, they get admission to a government-funded grammar school, and they enjoy 6 years of high quality. I think I should have written high quality and free education. High quality and free education. Now we move to the KS2 SAT exam, year 6 students. Now, it's always good for students to also do well at the KS2 SAT exam, because when they do well at this exam, they can get school. Schools. So they can get good schools. They do well at the exam. So now, if your child is already in year 6 as we speak, then they can't take the 11 plus. So their best bet is the SAT exam. That is their best bet, the SAT exam. So, but if they still have to do well on the SAT exam, because if they do well on the SAT exam, they can get good schools, very good schools, and that will also go a long way. Then we have GCSE exam, the GCSE exam. Now, the GCSE exam is taken by year 10 and year 11 students in the UK. Year 10 and year 11 students in UK, something off with my keypad, but see, use it that way. I started tonight. So GCSE exam is year 10 and year 11 students, and all year 10 and year 11 students have to take the GCSE exam. I mean, so it's an exam that is part of what is required to gain admission to good UK universities. So the GCSE exams is for university admission. So aside other qualifications, aside other requirements, the GCSE goes a long way in ensuring that these students have the admission to a good school. So that is the structure. Now, how do we help in Techland? How do we help your children to pass these exams? Afua and Lauren will be here shortly, but I just need to give this overview. So how do we help? So here's how our program works. And it's a program that is designed to succeed. So first of all, if your child is writing the 11 plus exam, then that means your child has like 6 months. 6 months of preparation. 8 months of preparation. And that is because the program for these exams for this year starts, the coaching starts January 27, which is a Monday. January 27, which is a Monday. Right. So, and it goes on to September. So how does it work for us? So classes holds Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. So then class is from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. UK time. So the child has a class per day. Now, the thing about this 11 plus exam, which makes it competitive and makes it very hard for students who are not well trained in passing, is that it's not just maths and English. Of course, maths and English are there, but we also have verbal reasoning. Then we have non-verbal reasoning. Now, for verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning, it's actually not taught as part of the UK school curriculum in year 5 and year 6, but it is tested on the 11 plus, because the idea of the 11 plus exam is they just want to have the best and the brightest there by giving them a very standard examination. So Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, all this is covered in this 8 months, the maths, the English, verbal reasoning, and non-verbal reasoning. That's the first thing, and this goes on to September. Now, another thing is that they have what we call monthly mock test. Monthly mock test. So from the start of the program, so when they resume by January 27, they actually start with a mock test that tests them on all areas of the 11 plus exam. Of the 11 plus exam. So, right? And after the monthly mock test, their performances are reviewed to see the areas of their strength and the areas of their weakness. So let me give you an example of how this, let me just share with you how this works. For us. Something is wrong with my keypad. Okay, so I have to remove the name of the child. Let me remove the child's name. So, good. So I'll share it with you. So this is a report of a child, but I have to remove the child's name, and this is the November report. So this is how we do it. Every month, we try to give this kind of report so that the progress of the child periodically, the parents can see the progress of their child, and this report is sent out to the parents. So aside from the monthly mock test, the progress report is sent to the parent as the training progresses. So we could see a mastered, finished areas, progressing, showing improvement, needs improvement, showing the area you need improvement. So this shows how it works. Now this is for one of the, so this shows how it works: comprehension, vocabulary, grammar, punctuation, creative writing. Then the mock test, you can see, okay, this is his performance on the test. This performance, so his performance, we can see that, right? So this goes on, right? This goes on. So that gives you an idea of how it works for us. Back to my slide, even though my keyboard is acting up, but I'll master it. So now, besides the monthly mock test and child learning progress report sent to parents, we also have what we call parent advisory session. Now, this goes periodically. At times is once in a month, and at times we do it once in 2 months. So why do we have this parent advisory session? So the students have their programs, their classes, Mondays, Thursdays, but we also want the parents to be part of the learning process. So once in a month at times, once in 2 months most times, we have our advisors, Afua, Lauren, all our advisors in a meeting with the parents to give the parent an idea of the things they need to do to help their children with these exams, whether it is 11 plus, whether it is SAT, whether it is Gcse. The parents are part of the process because the parents also have a part to play in helping these kids to pass the exams. Now, aside this, these sessions also offers admissions counseling, and advisory. We also offer admission counseling and advisory because we want these parents to be well informed. So many parents don't even know about this grammar school of a thing, this UK grammar school. What is this all about? So you are informed at this session because we have coaches and advisors who are very experienced in this area. So that is very important. So we also have that, right? So now I proceed. The SAT exams are coaching. It's a five. The SAT exam is in May, so they start February. So it's a 4-month coaching program, and it's from January to May. Let's say January 27th to May, when they write the exam, which is basically like 4 months. It's Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. But for the SAT exam is 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. That is for the SAT exam. It's 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. Like I said, the SAT exam is for year 6. Year 6. And it's from 4 months, basically, let's say January 27 till May. That is when they take the exams. And this is 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. That is when the exam, that is when the class is old. Just like the 11 plus, there is parents advisory sessions too. They are part of the parents advisory session, which holds once in a month. Mock test is done from the very first week of the classes, and the monthly mock test continues. And then we also have, as expected, the progress report is sent to the parents periodically. At times they get it once in a month, at times they get it after 2 months. So they know the progress of the child. And at times we've seen situations where we've seen good progress with some of these students as they take the mock test the following month, right? So that's then we have the Gcse exams. Like I said, the Gcse exam is taken in year 10 and year 11, in year 10 and year 11. It's for students that are year 10. They can start preparing from year 10 and year 11 too. That is when they take the exam. The exam is taken in June. So for this program, if you are taking, if your child is taking the Gcse, it's a 5-month coaching program. 5 months coaching program. And because a 5 months coaching program, just like you have to take note of Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Thursdays, right? It's also 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time, right? Now, let me share with you the brochure so you have an idea of what we are doing here. Let me share with you. I need to share with you the brochure. So this is for the 11 plus. The brochure will also be shared on the group. This is for the 11 plus exam. It's quite detailed. As you can see, it's an 8-month brochure, very detailed. You can see what they are covering month 1, month 2, very, very detailed. It covers all the areas they need to learn to ensure that they pass. And there's monthly mock test, just like I have said. There's a monthly mock test, right? So this is it. Then the brochure for, I think I will share the data of SAT. So I don't have that of GCSE here, but let me share the SAT here. Okay, let's get going. So this is for year 6. Students getting good score at the SAT also helps them to gain admission into good schools. It might not be grammar schools, but at least the schools will still be good schools, right? So it's a 4-month program, and we have this. So it's preparing them for the program, which will start in May. Yeah, so that's that for the SAT. So if your child is in year 4 or year 5, their best bet is to go for the 11 plus exam. If the child is in year 6, and now, then they will be writing the SAT exam, and this will prepare them for it adequately. So before Laurent comes on, I just feel I should share a few tips with you from my slide. A few tips from my slide. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so now I've been talking about this grammar school, benefits of attending. What's the benefit of attending a UK grammar school? So grammar schools provide high academic standards. High academic standards. They provide specialized learning environments and access to excellent resources. So if you want your child to have access to a very nice learning environment, go to a grammar school. Now, another thing is there are grammar schools that are not government-funded grammar schools. These are private grammar schools, but they are very expensive, and very, very expensive. So some of them could be as expensive up to maybe in a year, you could be paying as much as £20,000 for some of these schools. But if your child does well at the 11 plus exams, and the child will be able to gain admission to a government-funded UK grammar school, they will have the same level of education, the same high-quality education, but they won't be paying for it because they did well at this exam, which is why we always advise that from year 4, they don't even have to wait till they're in year 5. From year 4, they start to prepare for these exams, for the 11 plus exam, because it will set them apart for life. Once they gain admission into this kind of school, it sets their life. It helps their trajectory in life. Now, admissions to grammar school is highly competitive, as you should expect, highly competitive, as these schools often have limited spots and are sought after by many families because you are getting quality education without paying for it. Who doesn't want that? Now, the selective 11 plus exams make the admission process rigorous, requiring preparation and strategic planning. Now, another thing I forgot to say is that, yes, high scores goes a long way, but they are not the only determinant. High scores goes a long way, but they are not the only determinant, right? So it's good to have a high score. It's wonderful, but there are other considerations too. And that is why our parent advisory sessions once in a month is very, very important. Once in a month at times, once in 2 months, depending on the need, is very, very important because it also educates parents on the other things involved in gaining this admission to these grammar schools. The scores are an essential part, but there are other elements aside the score. So the grammar school admission process, identify target schools. So you need to research potential grammar schools in your area or region, considering the academic strength, extracurricular offerings, and overall fit for your child. These are the things we handle at the advisory sessions. Check admission criteria. Each grammar school may have specific admission requirements, such as passing the 11 plus exam, residency rules, and additional assessments or interviews. So they have their own admission requirements. So it is very important. No local authority rules. It's important to understand the policies set by your local authority regarding school catchment areas, application procedures, and deadlines. So knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So It's one thing to pass the exam, it's another thing to know what it takes to get this exam, to pass the interviews, to identify the schools. So there's a whole lot involved here. Understanding the exam format, I think I've shared a little on this. Familiarize yourself with the structure of the 11 plus exam. Like I said, which I still want to repeat, that the 11 plus exam, the verbal reasoning and the non-verbal reasoning is not taught in year 4, year 5, and year 6 in the UK school curriculum, but it is tested on the 11 plus exam. So that is why there's a need for coaching. The one TechLearn is offering, this kind of coaching, right? So familiarize yourself with the structure of the 11 plus exam, including verbal reasoning, non-verbal reasoning, mathematics, and English. Targeted resources and high quality practice materials. These are some of the things that we also do at TechLearn. So we provide very good resources to coach these students, the kind of resources they need. It's not just about any resource, but the required resource, what is necessary. So using reputable books, online platforms, and mock exams designed specifically for 11 plus exam. So study groups and time management. Encourage your child to join study groups and use time management techniques to balance schoolwork with 11 plus exam preparation. Now, another thing about our program is that we don't have more than 5 students in a class, more than 5 pupils in a class. They don't exceed 5. Some classes even have 4. And this is to ensure that they learn together, and the tutor can also have adequate time on each child, because it's an 8-month journey for 11 plus. It's a 5-month journey for Gcse. It's a 4-month journey for the SAT exam. So the students can have enough attention from the tutor. Structured revision and identifying weak areas. Just like I showed you in our report, we identify the weak areas from the class, from the mock test. The tutor gives us the report, and we keep working with the child on that weak area until they become strong in that weak area. So we create a revision table that focuses on areas where your child needs improvement, ensuring a comprehensive approach to exam preparation. Grammar school admission process. Registration deadlines, be aware of and adhere to the registration deadlines for the 11 plus exam and secondary school applications. Secondary applications, after passing the 11 plus exam, follow the necessary steps to apply to your target grammar school, right? Follow the necessary steps, interview skills and mock exams. So this is where the parent advisory sessions really matters, because we tell the parents what to do when this time comes. So what they need to do. So the parents are knowledgeable, they are aware ahead of time. So prepare your child for any potential interviews or additional assessments through mock interviews and exams to build confidence and familiarity with the process. Right, let's look at the exam day preparation ahead of time, right? Positive mindset. Encourage your child to stay calm and focused by practicing relaxation techniques and positive self-talk. So positive mindset is important. We also cover a lot of this at the sessions with the parents, building confidence through practice. That is why at TechLearn, every month, they take a mock test every month. So regular practice builds familiarity with the exam format and boosts confidence in their abilities. Yes, because imagine they've been taking tests every month. So when they get to the exam or to take the exam, it just looks like what they've been doing before. So they are used to that terrain, to that environment. Healthy diet and exercise. Ensure your child follows a balanced diet and stays physically active to support their mental and physical well-being. Managing anxiety and stress. Help your child practice stress relief techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, and visualization to manage exam day nerves effectively, right? So these things are very important. Post-exam, what happens next? Understanding the results. So familiarize yourself with the timeline for receiving the exam results and how they are interpreted. There's a grammar school selection process. After the exams, grammar schools will shortlist candidates based on their scores, and parents will need to proceed with final applications. Options for students who don't get into a grammar school. Are there options? Yes, there are. There are options like the appeals process, attending comprehensive schools, or considering private schools that offer scholarships. Like I said, in case you don't know, there are government-funded grammar schools, and we also have private grammar schools. Private grammar schools have the same quality of education as the government-funded ones, but they are very expensive, very expensive. So some of the cheapest you would ever get might be maybe like £15,000 per annum. So just look at it for 6 years, that's like £90,000 for 6 years. But a government-funded grammar school has the same level of education and it's free. So, but there are alternative options such as the appeals process, attending comprehensive schools, considering private schools that offer scholarship. Afua will talk more about that. Lauren will talk more about that at the parent advisory sessions and even tonight. Encouraging resilience and alternative pathways. If your child doesn't secure a place, reassure them that there are many other excellent educational pathways and help them stay positive about their future opportunities, right? Help them stay positive about their future opportunities, right? So there are many other ways around it. So that's much about it. I still have a few minutes before I bring in Lauren first. So another thing I didn't tell you about is the fees for the program. Many people might feel, oh, this program with what is entailed in this program, with what it entails, it's going to be very expensive. Well, it's not. It's quite cheap. And we made it cheap so that a lot of parents could afford it. And that is why from the advert that we pushed out, we were very intentional about African parents. We were quite intentional that we wanted African on this. We are not discriminating, but it's just, that is just who we are really bothered about. So it's quite cheap. And I'll just read it out to everyone here. So if your child is doing the 11 plus exam, it is 285 British pounds for the 8 months of coaching. For the 8 months of coaching, which is 4 classes every week, an hour per day of classes, monthly mock test, coupled with the monthly or the bi-monthly parent advisory sessions. Everything goes for 285 British pounds for that. Yeah, and if your child is doing the SATs will take place in May. You are paying 180 British pounds for that. 180 British pounds for the SAT. And if you are writing the Gcse, there's a 5 months coaching program for the Gcse. Your child is paying for the Gcse 200 pounds for the Gcse, 200 pounds for that. So that is how we do it here, 200 pounds for that. So that being said, I think it's time for me to bring Lauren here to talk to us. Lauren is a student advisor at Techland, and she will be here tonight to share with us about the process. So I'm bringing Lauren in, promote to panelist. So Lauren, you're welcome to tonight's session. You're welcome to tonight's session. Okay, so I think let me make you the host so we can see. I don't even need to do that. Hey,
there we are.
Good evening, Lauren. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing good too. Good to see you once again
Okay.
at the session. Yeah. So how is the UK? How is the family?
Oh, it's cold. The family's well. Yes, but as well as a
Okay,
4-year-old is.
I see. That's good.
Oh,
So
but
over to you. I think you have a slide that you want to share with us. So
yes,
uh, and just share the
absolutely.
slide and
I was.
let's sit back and enjoy your session. Yes, you can. You can share your slide. I've enabled access. Yeah.
There we are.
Okay.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. Um, My name is Lauren. I am an international education consultant and tutor. I've been tutoring now for about 14 years, specifically online for the last 7. And I've just finished my 4th year where I've specialised in the entrance exams in grammar schools and independent schools, not just based in the UK, but I have now expanded to many countries, boarding schools this year particularly. So yeah, that is what I do. I've been pretty successful. I've just got one into Cheltenham's Ladies College, which is like a massive one for me this year. So, but yeah, the grammar schools and independent schools and state schools. So we're going to go through the differences of what each one is. We've had some of that already, and really explain what they are. So obviously the state schools are for everybody. They You could just go to your local school. Your primary schools, they have feeder schools into secondary schools. Where I am, I have 2. One's very good, one is not. So that is that. You have your grammar schools. There is grammar boarding schools. So we will go through this as this is an option that nobody really knows about. And I think since the VAT has come in this year, the secret is out. So it is something that is, something to consider. So we will go through that as well. Grammar schools are selective, so you have to take a test. They cherry pick the top. It is an IQ test for 10-year-olds, is basically what it is. And independent schools. So independent schools are our private schools here in the UK. Again, depending where you are, particularly the southern London ones, the traditional ones, Cheltenham Ladies College, Winchester, Eton, St. Boys, girls and boys and girls, sorry. Um, they are very selective. Thousands of kids all over the world go for those, but they are costly. The most expensive independent school is £55,500 per year, which is Brighton College. And that, since the VAT, obviously 20% has been added on 2 weeks ago. So they are, pretty much out of a lot of people's pockets, unfortunately. You can get cheaper ones of around 15 to 20 if you're lucky. Things also to consider with independent schools, particularly. The rule of thumb in the game is whatever the fees are, add 25%, because you have uniforms to pay for, music classes, sports, etc., etc. So anything you pay on fees, always add an extra 25% on, because you have to pay for everything else, and it's not cheap. So that's another thing to consider. Um, so we're going to go through all of them. So obviously the traditional schools are your state schools. They are for everybody. You are legally obliged to send your child to school until they're 16. So the majority of kids in the country will go to state schools. Like I said, some are good, some are bad. It really is a postcode lottery. Where I live, like I said, I've got 2. The closer one is not very good, but the one in York, I live in York. The one in York, Archbishop, which is like this top one that's red and white, it is an outstanding school. So because of that, it gets the results, it gets the money. So obviously everything in the UK that is state funded, the better you do, the more money, and the more money, the more facilities, etc. That school can provide for your child. So yeah, it is really a postcode lottery for those ones. Some catchment areas are better than others, unfortunately. But you can always do an appeals process. Later on, people drop out, don't they, and go to other schools. So even if you don't get in the first bit, you might get in the summer. You have to follow the government guidelines. So obviously these are set by the government, the curriculum, they follow it step by step. And because of this, the staff is usually put under immense pressure. There's large classes, particularly now again because of the VAT. A lot of people have had to pull their kids out of private schools. So there is even more pressure on a lot of state schools because of this. So they are overcrowded, vastly underfunded. Teachers are stressed, quite rightly so, because there's just a lot of students, pressure, numbers, etc., on top of, teaching and homework. So yes, those are your state schools. I'm sure it's the same everywhere in the world. State schools, as great as they are, it's not all. If you have options, they're probably your last option. So yeah, that is that. These you just apply for again in, I think it's around the October of year 6. You have to apply for your secondary school. The deadline is in the January, and you would stick your options, and your local council decide where you're going. Again, the postcode. Independent schools. So these are your private schools. This is Poplington's. This is my local one. That's like 10 minutes away. A lot of independent schools offer day and boarding. So, costs. Most schools are now in the 20 to 30,000 pound per year bracket. Poplington, since the VAT has been hit, this is about 8,000 pound a term, which in terms of private schools is not expensive. Which I know sounds crazy, but yeah, £8,000 a term is for secondary school. It's not crazy, which it is. Obviously, with an independent school, you do have to still sit the entrance exams. Some are more selective. So in the London area, particularly, and Surrey, they are highly selective. Where I am up here, I've actually got an abundance of private schools. York actually has about 7. So if I wanted to do that for my son, I actually have options up here, and they're all about the same price. So yeah, they are multiple stages of entrance. So obviously you've got the 11 plus for the year 7. There's also the 13 plus. So that's your year 9 intake. So most students will sit the 13 plus, again, depending on how selective the school is, either in the year 7 or the year 8 of school to get for the year 9 intake. But again, you've got an ISEB, which is another type of test. There's the KS2, there's the Gcse. There are multiple styles of this entrance exam, but they all pretty much follow the same process, the same subjects, which we will come to in a second. Obviously, because you are paying for fees, you're paying for a premium. So you're going to get small classes, great teachers, but it's the facilities that sell these private schools. And obviously, you make friends with the right people, which helps you succeed later on in life. So that is independent schools, which, as I know, not all of us can do. So your other option is to get that independent education without the price. So this is grammar schools. Grammar schools, highly selective. You have to sit this test. The test is usually around the September. This is so you get your results by October, so that when the council open up admissions for secondary schools, this is where if you have got the grade, you will be able to put your schools as your selection on the council secondary school application. It's like a very Asian situation. Students are ranked in grade order. So the kids that get 100% all the way down, and they basically pick the top 50, and that's it. So it's very selective. There are other ways. So sometimes they do, depending on the school, you do have to read their T's and C's. It's absolutely essential when you are going for these schools to make sure you go on their website and read the T's and C's. Some of them will do sports sort of scholarships. Private schools do that as well. So you can go in the sport or maybe music route if your child is gifted. But the majority of you will have to go the academic way. Which is sitting the 11 plus. There are multiple styles of tests. There's the GL, which is probably the most common one. There's the Chem, which is mostly used in the Manchester region. Sorry, and but there are schools that actually write it themselves. So trying to get sort of those selective mock papers and things is like impossible. Because you just can't find it. They write it themselves and that's the end. But they all follow the same format, which we will come in shortly. You have to live in the catchment area for grammar schools. That is a must. So it's always been where I don't recommend it, but it is something that does happen where people will move closer to these schools to live in these catchment areas. That's fine if you're buying a house, but for those, I have known people to rent houses in those areas. I wouldn't now. It's just something that they now do checks, and your child will get kicked out of that school if you are not living within the catchment area, even a year or two later. They have started to really crack down on this. So if you, like me, have known people that do this, I just wouldn't do it. If you're going to move into a catchment area, stay until your child has finished, because obviously you don't want them to lose their place. Trying to go from grammar schools or independent schools back into the state system, it's really difficult. They struggle. The expectations are completely different, and yeah, it's just not great. So if you are going to move into catchment areas, make sure it is permanent, is really that. So the procedure for these, about May, July, they start registering your interest. Around August, they sort of send a confirmation. This is where you will get the 11 plus day when you will sit it. Some councils, you'll sit one test for all of them, like the Berkshire test. You'll sit the one for all of the grammar schools down there. The Sutton test as well, you'll sit the one for all of the schools around there. Other schools, they'll have their own independent days for these tests. So again, you must make sure you register on time. Registration opens in May at some time. And closes around July. Again, each school's different. Each council's different. So some of them you have to register with the school, some of them you have to register with the council. So again, you really need to go on your school's website and check the T's and C's. Because if you miss deadlines, there's no second chances. There's too many students wanting to go to these schools, especially now since the VAT kicked in. They already said this year was the highest amount of students that sat the 11 plus for grammar schools. So the pressure is only just going to get worse as you know, the VATs and things. Still waiting to see how that settles down because obviously it's only been a few weeks. But yes, you sit the exam in September. The results will be in October, and then obviously those will get sent. You can then apply on your council website that these are the ones you want to go to. But yeah, deadlines. Now, boarding schools. There are 32 grammar boarding schools in the country. This means you are not restricted by a postcode. Ripon Grammar, this is our only grammar up in York. It is a boarding school. Boarding schools, the fees are less than 10,000 a year on average. Obviously, most of them are different, which is a lot nicer than paying sort of that 20 to 30,000 pounds just for day fees. So you don't have to pay fees, you're just paying for the boarding, which is, yeah, I would say the maximum is about 10,000 a year. So you still have to sit the 11 plus. It just means that you're not restricted by postcodes anymore. So if you are really, really looking at grammar schools, and this is definitely sort of like the way forward, this could be an option. Now, because you are out of postcode, you would have to go through sort of what I do for my clients. You would have to go through the school. So they will have their own admissions process because you're out of postcode. So you would have to apply directly to the school as if you were going to like a private school. Okay. But like I said, there are boarding grammar schools. You don't pay the fees. You still get the full education, but obviously the fees come in is for the boarding. But it's less of a blow than paying for the independent schools. So that is always an option. If you don't have any grammar schools within your house, it saves you having to move and the cost of moving as well. And then you have 32 to choose from. So that is the other way to go forward. So the entrance exams. There are 4 subjects. Not everybody does all 4 subjects. But the majority of them will do verbal, maths, and English at a bare minimum. Non-verbal, some do, some don't. And it's again, if you go the independent school route, some of them do, some of them don't. So always train in all 4 principles. I do that with my students here at TechLearn. That's exactly what we do. We do all 4 subjects. So to make sure that you are covered on the day, so your child knows exactly what to expect and how to answer the questions. Maths and English particularly, all of these are multiple choice. I forgot to say that. The 11 plus is multiple choice questions. So it makes it a bit easier because nobody likes writing. But the maths and English usually goes beyond the year 6 curriculum, often touching base with year 7 work. So it's, you know, you're expected to know year 6 curriculum and year 7 curriculum at the start of year 6. So it really does stretch their knowledge. As said before, verbal and non-verbal, they're not done at school anymore. I actually learned them in the 90s when I was at school. It was part of the curriculum, but it's not now because obviously a lot of the grammar schools have been shut down over the years or they've gone independent. So it's not done anymore. So yeah, these are the 4 subjects that are part of the entrance exam. So how to pass them? Time. The earlier the better. Formal training shouldn't really need to start until year 4, but even if you have children in year 3, reading, making sure that their timetables are down, because that is the basic of everything. Timetables, reading, and comprehension. So if this is something, if you've got younger siblings, start getting them ready now. That really is the key here, is time. With your older kids as well, the earlier you start, the better as well. But again, making sure timetables, reading and comprehension. By year 5, they need to be able to read text like Roald Dahl, Charles Dickens, A Secret Garden, Animal Farm, all these classic books that are really advanced. I mean, a lot of adults don't understand them. So but a lot of the comprehension for the 11 plus are these classic texts, 1800s text, Pride and Prejudice. I've seen that one, Jane Eyre. So really need to make sure that your child is reading way beyond their years, but it's not just being able to read it, because I mean, obviously I'm in the international market. Being able to read it is very different from understanding it, because you're going to get about 30 comprehension questions on a text. So really being able to understand words, grammar, obviously your spag, your spelling, etc., needs to come into punctuation. The comprehension questions really comes into this as well. So time, this is where your time comes in. Practice. I always say little and often. So having your lessons every day is fantastic. It's little and often, little and often. You can then obviously in your own time, like there's plenty of resources, workbooks, etc. Making sure that you are doing them 10, 15 minutes a day. That's all it is, little and often. But practice, and get your child used to, if they don't know or don't understand, ask the question. Because if they don't understand, it's going to, it could be a problem later on. So making sure that this is where the guidance really come in, guiding your child, getting them comfortable, ask questions. I don't know, I don't understand, that's fine, that's okay. That's what we're here for. Take it to class, making sure that they really do get what they're doing. Communication and teamwork. So this really is, this, I always say back to the triangle, between the tutor, the parents, and the child. We are a team, we are a triangle, and we have to work together to succeed. I think this is in education across the board, but particularly with the entrance exams, it's hard, it's fast, and then it's done. And it can be quite brutal on the child, extremely stressful. And for these kids, this is the first formal test they've ever sat. So for them, it is terrifying. Key stage 2, your year 6 SAT is usually the first formal test, but for those going for the 11 plus, they get it earlier. This is their first test ever. So it's terrifying. So making sure that we work together, we don't burn them out. Burnout is real with these kids. They work incredibly hard. They have to do this on top of their regular schoolwork and sports, etc. It can get too much for them. So we must make sure all lines of communication are always open, everyone's being honest, and we work as a team. And it's the only way to get through it. So making sure we're doing that, and then you will succeed. Then if we do succeed, fantastic. If we don't, it's okay. We'll just go to the best comprehensive state school that we can. So key stage 2, the SATs, every child in year 6 must sit them. They are usually the first
Lauren,
week of
I have
May.
a question here. Sorry to cut you. I have a question here. So is it necessary that the pupils have a good grade on the SAT score? Does it help them to gain admission to good schools, even though they've missed out on the 11 plus? So what's the importance of having good grades on the SAT?
The point of having good grades on the SAT is it determines your class level at secondary school. So when you go, so the 11, this is completely separate from the 11 plus. So anything to do with the 11 plus has absolutely nothing to do with your SATs. Your SATs are for state schools. So the 11 plus, they'll retest you in at the start of year 7. Because you'll only have maybe 50 of you, you will literally have 2 classes and that's it. And everybody will be on the same sort of academic level. So it's not like state schools where you're streamed, where you have the brightest kids in like step 1 all the way down through to usually the naughty class, which is like step 5, step 6. So this is where your SATs come in. So all the kids that get like a level 5 in their maths, their English and their science, they'll be in set 1 or 2 maybe. So this is where your SATs are important, because this is going to determine, which will then have a knock-on effect on your GCSEs. Now, GCSEs, you've got the higher paper and you have the low paper. If you sit the low paper, when I was at school, obviously it was A's, B's and C's. The highest, it was a C. So even if you did really well, you would only get a C. I luckily was in set 1 for everything. So I came out with A's and B's because I sat the higher paper, because my SATs, I got straight 5s. So this is where your SATs are important, because obviously the jump from year 6 to year 7 is massive. So the preparation for secondary school, for starters, is there. But it is going to determine what class you sit. And once you're in there, it's very difficult to move classes. There were not many kids that fluttered between classes. You know, I was in set 1 and I sat with the same 27 kids for 5 years. No one went up and no one went down. It was the same 27 faces for 5 years. So, you know, that's life.
So does that now affect the eventual outcome of that student's academic performance? So if you are in, let's say, level 1, because you had good SAT scores in your year 6, does it affect the kind of university you eventually get to in the UK? How does it affect your academic performance going forward from there, if you're at a higher level compared to if you're at a lower level?
So with the higher, you sit the higher paper for everything, which means you can get level 9s. If you are in the lowest class, you will sit the lower paper. So the highest you can score, I think, is level 4. Maybe level 5. Back at my day, it was a C. C is the pass grade, yeah? So I think level 4 is the pass grade for GCSE. So that is the average the government has decided everybody is a level 4.
So
and that's the highest you can get on.
It
Yeah,
marks the
that's
student for
it.
life. Yeah.
Yes,
It
exactly.
marks
So
them for life.
you would then have to go back to college, like a tech college, and go to night school and redo your GCSEs to get the level that you are needing.
So, oh yeah, over to you.
Yeah.
So I just need to say that so that those who are watching us and listeners can understand that even if your child is writing the SAT exam, they still have to get a very good grade on the SAT exam, because it will affect them later on in life, their secondary education and the kind of school they eventually go to, the kind of university they get admission to. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
over to you.
I don't think people know that. I mean, the year 6 stats as a, I mean, no one asks me about my year 6 stats. So, I mean, it's in the great scheme of things, it doesn't matter long term, but it does in the sense that it matters in the fact that it sets the precedence of your secondary school career, which then obviously sets, do you go to sit A levels? And then do you go to university? Or are you now, not everyone's academically gifted. I get that. So your year 6 stats are going to basically tell you as a parent, are your children going to go the academic route, or should we get them into hobbies? You know, that sort of more, are they good with their hands? Let's find them something that they will succeed in. So, but yeah, that is basically what these determine.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Over to you. Yeah.
No worries. Well, that was pretty much it, actually. So yeah, I actually did it in less time than last time. Hooray! But yes, any questions? Has anyone asked any questions? Oh, you're on silent. Oh, I think you're on silent. I can't hear.
I think someone has a question here.
Oh, someone does. Okay.
So yes, Ajibola Ogunlade has a question. I have a child in year 5. He came into
Yeah.
UK last year, January. Will it be okay to prepare him for 11 plus? So even though I've answered that, but I want you to answer it, that the child is in year 5. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the first thing I would do is probably sit him down and do a mock test. I would see how he does, particularly the maths and English, see where he sits now, and then it would be definitely easier to gauge roughly where he is, or she. Oh no, he. But yeah, absolutely. I have students that come across from China, the Middle East, etc. And they come across sort of towards the end of year 4, year 5, start of year 5, and they still sit the 11 plus and have succeeded. So yeah, it is absolutely doable. So yeah, but I would sit down, do a mock test, see where he is, because he's year 5. There might be, if English is not your first language, then you might need support in the English language to get him up, to get him ready. So that's not just for the 11 plus, but also for stats as well. Just to make sure that he understands the questions, etc.
So there's another question. Yeah, are you
Mhm.
done with that? Okay, so
Yes.
Timmy Max has a child in year 8 and wants him to cross into grammar school. So what advice can you give on that? The child is in year 8 and wants the child
Year
to cross
8.
into grammar
So
school.
it's the grammar schools. It's quite difficult to do the crossover because usually with grammar schools, once you're in, people don't tend to move. It's a lot easier in the independent section to go into the year 9 take. A lot of grammar schools do not have a year 9 take. So my advice for you would be to contact the schools and see if they have any places. If they do, then start going through that process. I know people that didn't make it into the year 7 and they are constantly on the phone to the grammar schools. Do you have a place? Do you have a place? Do you have a place? A lot of them don't get in, unfortunately, because like I said, once you're in a grammar school, most people don't
People don't
move.
leave.
No,
Yeah.
so again, that boarding grammar school option, that might be a way for you to get in. I know like Ripon does have places. I'm not sure of what every year, but if you are willing to send them to like the weekly boarders, so they go in on Sunday afternoon and they come home on a Friday night, that would be the other option for you. Is to go the grammar boarding because there's going to be more flexibility for that year 9 intake.
Okay, so I think this other question is for me, and I will answer that. So it's Choma. So the daughter is in year 4 and would like to start studying for the 11 plus. So that means your daughter will take the 11 plus next year, September. So what happens is that you want the child to start right now. So the child will start from now to September. Then after September, resume again. So you pay for this year, then you pay for next year. So that is how it works. You can always reach out after the session. I'll put my WhatsApp line here so we can talk about it. But since you want him to start preparing for now, so he will prepare for this year as if he was to write it in September. Then we also prepare for next year. So he has 2 years of coaching before he takes the exam. So, but we'll talk about it. You can just send me a WhatsApp chat. We'll do that. Right. So let me see if there are other questions for you. Recommended materials that will be provided during the course of the session. Then B has a child in year 3. Would you advise a year 3 pupil to start preparing for the 11 plus?
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, making sure anything to do with times tables for the maths, make like number 1 to 12 times tables, their basic function skills. So adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, fractions, and the reading. the comprehension, so that understanding of them. Also, if you go to books like Bond and CGP, which are like the two biggest book companies, they do GCSE revision, A levels as well. They also do 11 plus. They start at 7 years old because we have prep schools, which are the private primary schools, which you also have to sit an entrance exam for to go for year three. So I would recommend from year three going and finding the 6 to 7 books. It does things very simple. It starts introducing the concepts, etc. So that would be a good place to start. But the reading and the basic math functions, you can do that yourself. And that's what I would be making sure that my son is able to do at this point when he's in year three. But we've got a little bit of way to go for that.
Okay, so Lauren, thanks for your time. It's been a very wonderful session with you. And to those who are watching us, Lauren is a parent advisor and admissions consultant at TechLearn. So she has sessions with parents once in a month, most times, then twice in a month. I'm sorry, once in 2 months or once in a month as the need arises. So you'll be meeting her at those sessions once your child registers for this program. So thank you very much, Lauren. Do have a wonderful time as I bring in Afua. For our session.
Have a lovely
So,
evening.
yeah, you too. Bye. Regards to your son.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah. So let me bring in Afua. Okay. So we'll be having Afua Antwi here tonight. Afua Antwi. Afua Antwi. So, hi, Afua, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. How is everything over there?
Yep, everything is good. Yep,
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so before you want to say something?
oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so before we move on to your session, I don't know if you have a few things to say on the 11 plus SAT questions people might have, then we can now move into GCSE, right? So, because you also experienced with 11 plus and SAT, so I just wanted to have your thoughts and your opinions about many of the things that has been said. Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of what was said is covered.
Mm.
I wanted to also kind of pick on the question you asked about whether it's important for the students to do well in their SATs. And it really is, because my personal experience was that I came into the UK when I was 11, so I was still in year 6. But when I arrived, they wouldn't allow me to write the SATs, because it was like they would now have to enter my data into their system, and it could possibly bring down the scores if I didn't know the content, or I wasn't, well prepared for the exams. So I was not allowed to write the SATs. So when I got into my high school, which was a state school, I came in with no results. And because of that, I was put into bottom set for everything. And that was terrible. Yeah. And
Wow.
also because I didn't know the school system, I also thought that that was normal and what I was doing was what everyone else was doing, but it turned out that it wasn't. So I was very happy where I was. I was also one of those students who never said anything. I didn't really show any I just did what I was told, and I was just kind of gliding by. So it wasn't until when I was in year 9 and I got the option to choose my GCSEs, and I was told that I wouldn't be allowed to write my GCSEs. I would only be able to write the core subjects, which are maths, English, and science. And that was because that was compulsory. Everyone had to do it. But I couldn't choose any GCSE, like any extra options. I had to do a BTech course. which is like a vocational course.
Yeah.
So maybe I had to do something in social care or business studies or construction or something vocational. So when my mom found out, she was not happy. She
Of course, you won't be,
she came into the
because
school.
it's sort of limiting your options in life. Yeah, at
Exactly.
that point, yeah.
Exactly. So she came into the school and she said, there's no way my child is not doing her GCSE. You're gonna have to allow her to do it. She can do it, this and that. So she was really, really sort of like fighting for me. But it was my mistake as well. And it's also sometimes the parents just don't know. So one thing I would definitely say is that ask questions, make sure you speak to your children, make sure you look at their work, make sure that you're following their journeys, because that can really hinder the progress of your child. If you don't know what's going on and they don't know what's going on, it's an absolute mess. It doesn't help anyone. So one thing I would say is definitely communicate with your children and also be in the school, attend the parents' evening. My mom was always at the parents' evening and she was always there, but I think she just didn't have all the information and she didn't know the right questions to ask. So that's something that we can also help with and provide with that. So anyway, long story short, I ended up like get allowed I ended up being allowed to do my GCSEs and choosing my options, and I got A's and B's. So you can only imagine if I had started earlier, if I had like started from a top set from year 7, for example. Another thing that some schools do is some schools in year 7 to year 9, which is the foundational years, the key stage 3,
Yeah.
because key stage 4 is when you start doing the GCSE content. At key stage 3, some schools, I've worked in some schools, but they don't set the students from year 7. And some of the reasons why they don't set the students is because some of the students come in late, like I did, for example. So
Okay.
they don't put them in sets and say that, oh, you're in bottom set because we don't have your results, or you don't know anything, or you're from a different country, or maybe your English is not that good. They mix everyone up. So they take high achieving students, low achieving students, and the middle ones. They mix all of them up and they put all of them in all the classes. So they teach the students differentiated work. And some students who are able to pick up on some of the content that's being taught, they are obviously challenged more, but then there's also room for the ones in the middle to sort of push themselves and do well as well. And then the ones who are at the bottom, it also gives them a chance to sort of like see what other people are doing and also push themselves. So sometimes, I mean, there's benefits and disadvantages and advantages of both setting and not setting students. So those classes are called mixed ability. One thing I would say is that make sure that if your child is someone who is very high achieving, is in a mixed ability class, make sure that they are being challenged where they are, because some students also kind of slack when they feel like, oh, I already know this, but there's nothing else for me to do, so I'm just going to sit there idle, I'm going to talk, I'm going to interrupt the lesson, like, because they're not being challenged enough. So again, it comes down to communicating with your children, and it comes down to also going to the schools and asking the teachers what's going on. I want to know this, I want to know that. It's really, really important, and every school differs in terms of that. So yeah, that's one thing I would say, especially if your child is really quiet. Yeah, don't trust the quietness, ask questions, be interested and be involved. Otherwise, yeah, it can be very problematic later on.
Interesting. Yeah, so over to you. Let's
Yes,
hear from you as regards your slides. Yeah.
sure. 1 second, please.
Can just share, so we approve the share request
Okay.
if there's a need. Okay, I
Um,
think I need.
yeah. Oops, sorry. Yeah. Okay. I think it's working now. Yeah. So this is insight into more particularly GCSE. Oh, sure. Okay. Hi everyone.
Yeah.
So my name is Afua. and I'm a qualified secondary maths teacher with about 5 years of teaching experience at secondary level. I also have experience teaching primary part-time. I've also taught students privately online and still do at Key Stage 2 to Key Stage 4, and Key Stage 4 being the GCSE stage. And I hope this is a really insightful and informative session for you. Please ask any questions at any point, and hopefully I see it in time and I respond in time as well. So what exactly is the GCSE examination? A lot of the things I'm going to say has already been said, so just, yeah. So GCSE stands for General Certificate of Secondary Education, and it's a set of exams taken in the UK, typically by students around 16 at the end of their secondary education. It covers a range of subjects, the core ones being English, maths, and science, and various humanities and arts. The results are important for further education opportunities such as A-levels or vocational training or even apprenticeships. And the grading system ranges from 9 being the highest to 1 being the lowest. Grade 9 and 8 used to be what we used to have as A star. So if you get an A star, it's a grade 8 or a grade 9. And then grade 7 is an A, grade 6 is a B, grade 5 is a C, and yeah, and below. Yeah, I think the grade 9 is to sort of differentiate between top and then top. Yeah, grade 8 and grade 9. Yeah. The students in the UK typically choose their GCSE subjects in year 9 around the age of 13 or 14, and this process usually occurs in the spring term, although they're informed and prepared about their options from even the beginning, because some of the topics or some of the subjects that are taught at GCSE level, the students in year 7 to year 9 don't really get taught those subjects. Some subjects like business, for example, or even psychology. Psychology and sociology are sometimes offered as GCSE options in some schools, but students don't get taught that from year 7 to year 9. So what happens is that the students may have like a taste a week where they get to experience those types of lessons, and then it gives them an idea of what they will be studying if they were to choose those options, for example. Yeah. And like business as well. The choices they make will affect their future, their education and career paths. So it's important for them to consider their interests and future goals during this time. Usually the options are chosen by the students alongside their parents, which is why it's important for parents to attend the parents' evening to gain knowledge of the child's performance in their preferred subject with their teachers. So it's really important that in the student, I mean, the student sorry, the student should pick whatever they are strong in. However, some of it may be like, it may be too much for them. So it's also up to you, the parent, to make a decision sometimes for them, because you also know what it's like in the real world, and you know like what kind of benefits this will give you and what kind of benefits this will give your child. One thing that my mom allowed me to do, I think I had to choose four options, and my mom gave me one of my own choice. I mean, we agreed on all of them, but like there was one just for me, and that was drama. And that's because I enjoy drama and I was a shy kid. So it was something for my own confidence and my own like self-esteem to do something that made me happy and also got me sort of out of my normal character. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes that's also nice. So what are some of the examples at GCSE level? So there's mainly these 5 that most schools are signed up for and administer their exams through. So there's AQA, which is one of the largest ones, OCR, Edexcel, WJEC, and CIE. And you'll find that sometimes a particular subject will be a particular exam board, and then another subject will be another exam board. For example, I think I remember doing AQA, maths, and English, but I think I did Edexcel, something else. and OCR.
I have a question. So can students from year 9 start to prepare for the GCSE?
Oh yes, because
Okay.
actually what the students learn from year 7 to year 9, it actually encompasses, or it should encompass everything at the foundation level of their GCSE. So in their GCSE, the papers are divided into two, foundation and higher level. So the foundation level is basically the highest you can get in a foundation paper is a grade 5, which is a C. So foundation will be probably for students who are like from set 4, maybe even set 3 or below. Yeah, so if let's say there's about 7 sets, like 7 sets of classes for a year group, let's say year 10, there's 7 sets. So set 1 is the highest set, all the brilliant high achieving students are all in set 1. They're definitely doing higher. Set 2, they're definitely doing higher, but maybe their target grade is like a 6 or a 7. Set 1 maybe like they're targeting a 7, 8, or a 9 level. And then maybe set 2 will be 6, 7. So that's still achievable in the higher paper. Now set 3, sometimes set 3 is a mixture of higher and foundation, because set 3 may be students who want to get a 6 or a 7, but at the moment they are performing at a 5. And then it could also be for students who are performing at maybe a grade 4, but have the potential to do higher, like do better, if they kind of push themselves and they get prepared for it. So set 3 can be a mixture of people doing higher paper or foundation paper. But basically, the level of challenge in a foundation paper, it basically covers everything you learn till year 9. So I believe that by year 9, the students should be very, very, very well versed with the foundation paper, although they don't actually start getting any kind of exam practice till year 10 or year 11. Like that's just the law or the requirements by the educational board. Yeah. But I think a year 9 student can do a foundation paper. But it's just that some students, again, they come in maybe in year 8 or year 9, or they come in year 7, and the foundation isn't really there from primary school. So they struggle. And by the time they're in year 9, year 10, it's like they're still on the foundation level. They're still trying to build their foundations in certain topics. And a few years ago, I would have said COVID was a massive part of that. And it probably still is, to be honest. So definitely looking at the curriculum in the Key Stage 3 is really important to make sure that the child knows and is very, very strong in the Key Stage 3 curriculum before they start the Key Stage 4, for them to be able to do a higher paper, for example. Yeah.
Okay.
So the options available at GCSE level, these are the core subjects. So these are the subjects that students have to do, absolutely. They have to do English language, they have to do English literature, mathematics, and science. So these are usually about 5 papers, I think, or maybe 4. Yeah, so these will give you about 4 GCSEs, because science, combined science or maths will give you 1 each, and then English language and English literature as well. I was gonna say something. Oh yes, so at the GCSE level, in year 10 and year 11, there are some subjects that some schools may require you to do, but they don't necessarily give you GCSEs. For example, it's mandatory for a child to have an hour of like physical education. So your child will still do PE, but they won't get anything from it. They won't get any kind of GCSE grade at the end of it. They may get some type of like assessment or course, but it doesn't really count towards a GCSE if it's not an option. So some people choose GCSE PE, some people don't, but they still have to do PE anyway. The other thing is RS, or religious studies. I'm not sure if it's compulsory for every school now, because there's now like ethics and politics as well as citizenship. So that kind of humanities, I think they do some type of humanities subject that isn't really, it doesn't really add to your GCSEs, but it's still something you have to do just to kind of be just learn about society and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so these are your optional subjects that you choose on top of your GCSE, the compulsory core subjects. So your optional subjects are, in humanities, you've got history, geography, religious studies, but I also mentioned citizenship and ethics and politics. So those are also part of the humanities. Yeah, some schools offer many languages, but the most common ones are French, Spanish, German, and every now and then, maybe you have a student who is from Italy and they just speak Italian. You can actually opt them to, like, the languages department can actually opt for them to do a GCSE in Italian and just get it for free. Like, just get an extra GCSE. So I find in my school, for example, there were a lot of students that came from Spain. And because of that, because they just knew how to speak the language, they were entered for the Spanish GCSE, and maybe they chose to learn a different language like French on top of it. So instead of getting one GCSE, they ended up getting like 2 GCSEs just because they knew the language. Some other options maybe like Arabic. Some students speak Arabic. They can get a GCSE in Arabic on top of their GCSE. I'm not sure about like Urdu, but I think there's also a way. So if you have kind of child who can speak a language that's common in most countries, or one of the popular ones, I think you can always ask the school if it's an option for them to do a GCSE in that language as well. We then have the arts, so we have drama, we have music, arts and design, and we also have dance. I think dance is partly PE, but it's not. It's an art as well. So that's also a GCSE that the child can have. Have technology and vocational subjects like design and technology, computer science, food technology, business studies. Those are also options as well. You could also have psychology, like I said, or sociology, but they're not really very common in many schools. So it could end up being an option that's offered as well. Yeah. Yeah, so there's other options as well as GCSE, such as BTECs or Cambridge Nationals, and these are vocational courses, more specialized courses, and the students usually need to choose a combination that meets their interests. So a student it's mainly coursework. It's like coursework intense, like it's usually just about doing the coursework. And the good thing is not every student is like great at not every student performs well in exams. Some students are not really good at those types of assessments, so they're better off doing like a coursework where the teacher will mark it, give them feedback, then they'll correct it, then they'll mark it, give them feedback, they'll correct it, and then in the end, after all the corrections have been made, they just submit it. And it also gives them insight into what it would be like maybe at college level or university level, because a lot of university level work is also coursework heavy. So it's also like a good sort of initiation into that. So BTECs are Business and Technology Education Council, and their vocational qualifications that provide practical hands-on learning in various subjects. They are designed to prepare students for further education, training, or employment, and BTECs are offered at different levels, including level 1, level 2, and level 3. And level 3 is where it's equivalent to A levels. And that's all they do, basically. They just do that one BTEC. And yeah, in college anyway. So the key features of BTECs, they focus on practical skills. So BTECs are usually set to emphasize real world skills, and knowledge relevant to specific industries, making them popular among students who prefer practical learning over traditional academic exams. BTECs are offered in various fields such as business, health and social care, art and design, IT, sports, and engineering. Yeah, the assessment is usually just a combination of coursework, maybe exams, and it can vary depending on the specific qualification and subject. And it's quite flexible progression. It can lead to further education, such as university courses or apprenticeships, as many institutions recognize BTECs as valid qualifications for entry. They are really appealing to a lot of students nowadays. And the grade levels are a pass, a merit, and a distinction. And you have a distinction star. So if you get a distinction star, it just means it's like an A. So I have a friend who did social care in as a BTEC in college, and she ended up getting distinction, which is like an A. So if you get a distinction in that course, it's the equivalent of like 3 A's. Yeah, so she got into the University of Manchester. She did I think she did social care or something like that, but it's really impressive, and it's almost the same as someone who does an A level and gets 3 A's. So because of the level of work that goes into it and everything, and you get more support as well because your teacher is constantly looking at your work and it's constantly helping you get to the point that it needs to get to for your target grade. So yeah, it's an option as well. For people that are maybe currently doing IGCSE, IGCSE and GCSEs are basically the same thing. IGCSE is recognized internationally, whereas GCSE is more UK focused. IGCSE often offers more flexibility in subject and assessment methods, allowing for coursework and alternative assessments. For example, yeah, I was gonna get to that. About the language, that some IGCSEs may be offered in English as a second language. So if, let's say, the person speaks Arabic, the IGCSE may be offered in Arabic instead of English because that's something that makes it accessible for that person. But the GCSE doesn't get, they won't change the language for you. You have to do it in English. Yeah. The grading systems are similar. Although the IGCSE can be more rigorous because it covers a lot more content than the GCSE curriculum would because it's international. Maybe the English GCSE will focus on English literature, and sometimes it goes into like American literature as well. Whereas the IGCSE may find you may get a poem from, I don't know, Italy or Spain or like somewhere in Asia, or some type of literature from a country that you've never even like looked into. So that can make it a bit more challenging for some. Okay. Benefits of excellent scores in your GCSE. So further education opportunities. That just basically means that they have a chance of accessing A-level courses and vocational programs and college placements. I remember when I was applying for my college, when I was in high school, I got to the maths department and I was like, I want to do maths A level, and he was like, you have to have an A, otherwise you're not gonna be able to do maths A level. And I said okay, and then I got an A, so that was the only way I could get access into that course that I wanted to do. So it really does help. And even though I went on to do a whole new I did accounting and finance as my bachelor's degree. I ended up coming back to maths because I did a PGC in maths, and if I didn't have that A level, which was because I got an A in my GCSE, I would have never got the opportunity to do my PGC in maths because that was one of the requirements to have an A level in maths. So it's like, even though it was such a not really a small achievement to get like an A in maths, but it was still, it determined my future basically. And without it, I don't think I would be here today. So it's really important, even if you don't think it makes any kind of difference, it does, because your child may end up completely veering from the path that they're on, and somehow whatever they got in their GCSE will be the reason why they're wherever they are. University admissions, some universities actually consider your GCSE result as part of their admission criteria. Yeah, not just your A levels. Career prospects, good GCSE results can improve job prospects. For example, my situation, as many employers look for basic qualifications, including your GCSE. So most employers are looking for a C and above, literally. Just get a C and above and you're fine. But then that's subject to the particular job. Foundation for skills as well. So excelling in GCSEs helps develop essential skills like critical thinking, problem solving, effective communication, which is valuable in further education as well as in the workplace and life in general. Confidence and motivation, achieving high scores can boost your self-esteem. It can also be a determinant for encouraging students to pursue their academic and career goals with greater confidence. Excellent results, yeah, will mean that they can be leading in specialized areas in their fields in the future, and also the scholarship opportunities as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're well, our time. We just have a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this the last slide?
Yeah, I can do this as the last slide. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So anyway, strategies for success in your GCSEs. Developing a study plan really helps. Just setting yourself goals, achievable goals, setting yourself up for success might be having a revision schedule, like a timetable that you follow, using effective study techniques such as maybe a mind map or making some cards and some notes that can really be helpful, as well as using past papers, best thing you can ever need. Staying organized, staying organized, even tracking your progress, which is something that Hagitel is offering for your child. So that's really important as well. Seeking help when needed. Like I said, as the parents, you have the best access to the teachers, and teachers are very scared of parents, especially the involved ones. So I would just say I would just be on their necks, always be there, call them. And teachers like that. They like the ones who are really interested, because they know that this child has someone like that. They have someone to like respond to, like they have someone who will be in their corner. If the teacher was to make any decision, they know that the parent will back them up. So they know that if they were to even threaten the child that I'm going to tell your parent, the child will be like, okay, let me just sort myself out, because the parent's very involved in the life of the student, and taking care of your health, doing things that help regulate your stress levels, like exercising, eating well, practicing exam techniques, time management, reading questions carefully. That's all going to be provided by Hagitel. Staying positive and reviewing regularly as well. So thank you so much. I'll just
Thank you, Afua. You could just show us the last slide, even though we might not have time to go through it. Eva, just okay. It's a lot anyway. So, well, there are always sessions at the parents' advisory sessions, so they can always learn more at those sessions. So, good evening, everybody, once again. So, this is where we call it a day on tonight's session, just a recap of what we have been doing all through tonight. So we have, for us, we have 11 plus coaching, which is 8 months. Classes holds Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Class for 11 plus is 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. UK time. 11 plus is 8 months. The exam is in September. And the cost is 285 British pounds. One-time payment. People have been asking, oh, is it per month? No, I know it's very cheap. It's for the entire 8 months. You pay 285 pounds for the entire 8 months. Then for the SAT KS2 SAT, it's a 4-month coaching program for the exam, and that is 180 British pounds for the KS2 SAT. The time is 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And don't forget, for all the programs, there's monthly mock test. And we also have parent advisory sessions, which is once in a month and at times once in 2 months. At those sessions, we handle things like admissions, consulting, how parents can help their children out, anything around admissions, exam prep, and the rest of it. So it's always a knowledge sharing session, and it's specifically for the parents. Then we also have the Gcse, which Afua shed a lot of light on. The Gcse is also Mondays to Thursdays. It's a 5-month program because the exam will be in June, as the case might be. So 5 months program, Mondays to Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. for the Gcse. The brochures will be shared on the group. And if you want to register for the Gcse, 200 British pounds for the 5 months coaching program. These are discounted prices. For the 11 plus is 285 British pounds. For the KS2 SAT, which is 4 months, is 180 British pounds, all one-time payment. So for registration for inquiries, you can WhatsApp this number. Let me take a few questions. Yeah, I see a few people have dropped questions here. Right. So Milade is asking, where are you based? So TechLearn is a global organization. So we have tutors in London, UK. We have tutors in Ghana. We have tutors in Nigeria. So that is how it works for us. Wakwayemi is asking past questions for GCSE exam. Don't worry about that. Once you get into the program, you have enough questions, enough past questions for you, right? So don't worry about that. This is our job and this is what we do, right? So for inquiries, for registration, for payments, for classes, you can always chat up this number. This number will attend to all your inquiries, So thank you, everyone. So the replay, someone also asked with the replay, is there a replay for the session? Of course, there is a replay, and the replay will be shared tonight. So I've shared the number on the group. So any inquiry, if you need inquiries, you want to register, you want to pay for either the 11 plus, like I said, year 4 and year 5 is for 11 plus, year 6, that's for the KS2 SAT. Year 9, 10, and 11, they are the ones that the GCSE class is for. So please, let's take note of that. Right? So let's take note of that. So do have a wonderful time, everybody. If you have further questions, the group will be opened and you can drop your questions on the group. Registration started in earnest. So don't worry, Temi Max, just send a message to that number or drop a message on the group and we'll take it off from there. This is our work. This is what we do. We help your child to pass these exams and we help them along the journey, right? So do have a wonderful time, people. It's been a wonderful session. Thanks to Aqua, to Lauren, and to you all. We've had a wonderful session tonight. The classes will start. I forgot to tell you that. Of course, I will still share that on the group. Classes start January 27. Monday, that's Upper Monday. Upper Monday, January 27. Registration closes, this is by 6 p.m. UK time or 7 p.m. UK time. depending on the program you are doing. Registration closes same Monday, upper Monday. Upper Monday, January 27 by 5 p.m. UK time. So that is when classes will start. So do have a wonderful time, people. I can still see some questions here. Yeah, so I think people are just thanking everybody. So see you all in class. Bye for now. Bye.